This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. What's happening? Today is Tuesday. It is November 8th. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. You're looking to play blackjack or poker in a smoke-free environment in a really convenient location. That's 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes south of downtown San Diego. You want to add to it, Sammy's Restaurant and Bar on the other side of the casino. That's Sammy's Woodfire Pizza. You got great food, an amazing bar, all the table games you love in a smoke-free environment and only 7 minutes south of downtown San Diego. That's 7 Mile Casino, 7milecasino.com. And if you have any problems with gambling, you know you call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, fellas, Browner mentioned that there was breaking news earlier in the day. We'll get to it. And I have a couple of pieces of feedback from yesterday's show that I would like to share with you guys. And then we'll move in. We'll move on to a lot of other sports stuff that we want to get to today. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, feedback. Here's number one. J Law, yesterday, you did a great job of sharing with everybody who's listening and watching some of your experience while vacationing in Spain.
Okay.
Right? 50th
However.
birthday. No, however. 50th birthday, off season, right? Like all the tourists are there during the summer. Like everybody in my neighborhood's Facebook page is like, hey, here's me and my whole family. We're in Rome. Hey, here we are at the Colosseum. Here's our whole family. Traveling to Europe in the October, November range is a whole lot less expensive than traveling during the peak season of summertime. So I got a message from longtime great friend, Louis Escobedo. Guys, this is 5 o'clock this morning. I don't know why. I woke up, grabbed my phone. Louis was hitting me up on a
1
direct
p.m.
message.
in Barcelona.
It's what time?
1 p.m. in Barcelona if it's 5 a.m. here.
Okay. Hey, thanks for that math. Louis says to me, hey, great job by Lawhead yesterday explaining the trip that he took. $700 per ticket, flight-wise. Less than $100 a night at a hotel. The American dollar strong right now versus the euro. Food and booze and entertainment all less expensive right now. And Louis actually said to me, I've booked my trip to Spain.
Wow.
Because Lawhead explained how somebody can actually afford to go to Europe.
Yeah.
See, that's why I knew that yesterday. That was a great story, because most people think this, hey, I'm going to go to Europe and I'm going to take my wife or my kids and it's going to cost me $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000 for a 2-week vacation or maybe more. But it can be done for what I would say, Jay, is a pretty reasonable amount of money.
It was cheaper when you talk about flights and lodging. Okay. You can do whatever you want. You can spend more if you want and go on all kinds of tours, or you can just stumble around the city, have a little drink at cafe, go see architecture, walk, go to parks, go to beautiful things, not spend a lot. It was exponentially cheaper than a flight and 5 nights in St. Louis in June. I mean, so much cheaper that it was embarrassing. The reason we went to Spain is because we looked at Cabo and we're like, are you kidding me? For these prices? Let's go look at Spain. And then I said, let's go look at Spain because if it's around this. And then I was like, babe, Spain is like 3 times cheaper than this whole chunk of time we would have flown and went to Cabo. It was incredible. And if we didn't want to spend a lot of money, we wouldn't have. But, you know, we like we said, we saved over here with lodging. And so we were like, let's check out this, you know, the Gaudi exhibit. The museum is just one thing that I would spend my money on. And the Sagrada La Familia, the church. And get on a tour where you can kind of get a front of the line so you don't have to wait all day and spend the whatever it is, $46 per person. It's a joke. And you see some of the most incredible architecture. I mean, it's just stuff that you can't see anywhere else in the world.
Well, I'm just telling you right now, Louis and I were having a conversation this morning. His message came in to me at 5:21 a.m. 5:21 a.m.
Awesome.
And he said, believe it or not, He said, believe it or not, Lawhead got me inspired to book a trip to Spain. Tell him thanks.
Oh, you know what? And that's the greatest. Thank you. So that means so much to me that, I was able to be blessed enough to have the person, the travel partner, the life partner to go do that with for my 50th, be able to reflect, be able to look forward, be able to enjoy the present, and inspire somebody else to be like, dude, you know what? I'm going. Alex, before this week, when I sent him off, with a couple of texts at the wedding, he was like, hey, I really want to talk Barcelona. Me and my wife want to go there. I'm like, let's have a beer. I'll even watch soccer with you if I have to. I'll tell you what to do. You got to get there, man.
Well, I think what I was inspired by yesterday and hearing your whole story is, like, for me, I'm starting to think about when my daughter graduates high school in 2024, my two older
Mhm.
kids will probably be graduating college at the same time. And I'm like, I
Perfect.
really would love to go on a European vacation with my kids because my youngest has been, but my other three have not. And I would like to be there with them. I'd like to take them to the places that I've been that I want them to see. But I'm thinking to myself, June of 2024. That's like the most
Right.
expensive, most busy touristy time
Yeah.
of the year to go. But you see, I always think to myself, I can't go in October because it's football season and I can't take off radio during football season. You know what?
You
Screw
can
that.
you can take a week off.
I'm
It's
going to take a
17
week
weeks.
off. I
Yeah.
am going to take a week
Yeah.
off in October in 2024. Maybe it'll be even
Yeah.
sooner. And I'm going to go do what I want to do.
You should, man. And I'm telling you, anybody else that's listening that had even a bug of inspiration, you should do it. Look into it. I mean, we're already looking at with these prices, we're looking at possibly Milan, Italy, into Switzerland. I got a friend that lives in Lucerne, Switzerland, has always invited me. Hey, anytime if we're here or we're not here, you can have our house. Lucerne is right there in the Alps, and Milan's only a couple hours in northern Italy across the border. And we're thinking of maybe just next trip, boom, flying to Milan, renting a car, and doing Milan for a few days, into
Dude.
Switzerland for a few days, and then back home.
Dude, I have a friend who has a house also in Switzerland who lives there part-time and lives here part-time. And he's like, come
Mhm.
on over. Why do you not come over? And the
Yeah,
reason I don't go is because A, I think it's too expensive, which you proved yesterday it's not the case. And
it
B, I don't
isn't.
think I can take the time off. I got to get over this in my life. Seriously. So
You
great
do.
job,
You
J
do.
Law. You inspired somebody
Hmm.
yesterday to book their trip.
Wow.
And Louis a
Oh, wow,
longtime great
man.
friend.
That's awesome, dude. I was thinking it was gonna be some Dean Spanos fan or something that was like, tell a guy to jump off of a cliff.
No, 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 no.
That's good.
Your criticism or your I wouldn't call it criticism. Uh, what people wanted to tell me about yesterday was this was a great job by you. Now, criticism side of things,
Nice.
Brown, get ready, Brown.
For
Okay.
what?
Come on, Browner. You know people are all over you.
Oh man, you know I don't care about them folks.
Yeah, but no, but this time they may have gotten you.
What?
Got a bunch of feedback yesterday on something that did not go right on the show.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I started to receive tweets yesterday afternoon, and people were telling me that there was no audio
Oh yeah,
on the
yeah.
podcast.
My bad, y'all.
and
My
then,
bad,
My
y'all.
bad.
and then,
I can't argue that.
and then I started to get a bunch of direct messages from people going, "Hey, dude, you guys have a podcast, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "And it's an audio podcast, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "And it's on Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and iHeart and all these other places, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and then they go, "Well, if there's no audio on an audio podcast platform, what do you really have?" And so what I said to them was, well, when you went to the podcast yesterday on Spotify, for example, and you clicked in to hear it, what did you hear? And they heard nothing. So
Space.
Brown,
Mhm.
what happened?
So in the process of putting the show together for the radio and for the podcast, I have a way of doing it. So I don't have to keep going back and repeating myself because this process takes a while. I mute one section of the show after I post it for radio, and I keep it muted until the show is done, and then I unmute the entire show for the podcast. And I forgot to unmute the entire show. The last segment is unmuted.
So you mean to tell me that we posted an audio podcast yesterday with no audio?
It had audio, just not where people thought it would be.
Well, where would they think it would be?
At the beginning.
And so it wasn't.
It was at the end.
So you mean to tell me that somebody
Scott.
somebody would have listened for like 2 hours to nothing, and then they would have gotten to the last half hour, and then they would have heard the last half hour of the show?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's terrible.
I fixed it. It's fine. I fixed it by like 8:00.
Scott. See, Scott. What you're realizing right now in time is you can take a week off or 2 weeks off. Alex just can't.
Right.
There you go.
No, it's hard,
Alex,
man.
yeah,
It
no,
really
I
is
know,
hard.
I'm
Like
kidding.
Alex
I
has,
know, man. I don't know how to do that.
the thing is that Alex is the guy who wrote the playbook on what we do.
Mhm.
And then he sort of, I guess, taught it to Browner so that Browner can do the same thing for the Browner and Lawhead show. But now Browner's got to do it for this show. And it's just hard when you're co-hosting,
No, I know.
producing, directing, and then when the show gets over, then you got editing and deploying and one thing has to go to radio in New York, one thing has to be uploaded to YouTube,
Oh yeah.
another thing has to go to all the different audio podcast platforms. I mean, it is just not as easy as standing behind a radio board and it's live radio, and when it's over, and you just post it to an app where now it becomes a podcast. It's just complicated. That's all.
This is what they call a unforced error.
Mm-hmm.
This is an unforced error. This mistake was not because there was a system issue. This is a user error. It's totally my fault, and I didn't realize it until I saw that tweet, and I was like, as soon as I saw the tweet, I knew what was wrong. I was like, oh, because I remember my brain then remembered how it looks. Like I can visually see it, all the gray spots, and then the one blue spot. Well, for whatever reason, it didn't compute until he said that, and I was like, oh no. Went, hit a button,
hilarious.
Everything was fine.
My bad, y'all. My bad,
y'all. That's
My
on
bad.
me. That's
All
on
right.
me.
All right, last thing I want to mention, and then we'll just start jumping into
That
some
was
of the
my
sports
Westbrook
stuff.
turnover. My bad.
Gotcha. Last thing I want to mention is this. We have a great friend who is tuning in this afternoon, probably on radio, although at this point, he might be watching on YouTube. I want to mention this person by name. This is Gunnery Sergeant Alan Pena. Now, that is a name that many of you might know because Gunnery Sergeant Pena has been around this show for literally 20 years. No exaggeration. After 24 years as a U.S. Marine, this morning at 11 a.m., Sergeant Pena retired from the United States Marine Corps.
All right. Congratulations.
And let me tell you what an amazing guy Alan Pena is. See, I've known Alan Pena. He's been in the Marines for 24 years, and I've probably known Alan for at least 20 of those years. And all the things that we used to do up at Camp Pendleton, man, Alan Pena was like a liaison for us between us and the base. All of the cool military kind of paraphernalia that I have is from Sergeant Pena, who, was really, he was, like I said, he was kind of our liaison between us and the U.S. Marine Corps. Alan Pena's got a couple of kids, and I don't know if you guys remember this story or not, and I don't mean to bring anybody down, but it's actually quite an inspirational story. A couple of years ago, Al, do you remember this, Jay?
We did a fundraiser
Right.
show for him at the Comedy Store. Yes, I remember.
I'm literally
night.
getting goosebumps thinking about it. What happened is Alan had these kids, and he was at Little League practice, and when he showed up and when he got home, his wife, who was a beautiful girl, she took her own life. She literally took her own life. And here's Pena, who's in the Marines, who's got a couple of kids. He's kind of thinking about his future and his retirement, his family and everything else. And world gets turned upside down. And I remember going to the funeral for his wife, his now deceased wife. And I just remember seeing all the pictures of all of their great times in their lives were all around sporting events, Padre games, back in the day, Charger games. I mean, anything having to do with sports, that's what the pictures were all about. And I realized at the time, like how much the radio show meant to Alan. And I knew that because he was close to it. But when I saw all those photos at the funeral, I was like, oh my God, I mean, we were really a part of his life, and their lives. And so today, not to draw this out or to make this incredibly sad, hardly. What a man, what a Marine, what an American, what a dude. Sergeant Alan Pena 24 years as a U.S. Marine. Sir, thank you for your service. And isn't it interesting that it comes at a time where we're almost to Veterans Day, we're almost to the Marine birthday, and here is Sergeant Pena retiring from the Marines. Going to retire as a young man. He's going to be a great father to his kids. He's already an amazing baseball coach to his kids. And now he'll probably be able to move on to the next phase of his life. I have so much respect for people who do this. Get into the military early, retire long before you're 50, get that retirement, go get another job somewhere, work 10 or 15 years, get another set of retirement. Shout out to Al Long. And then by the time you're like 60 years old, you got it all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
money, health insurance, time, God willing. Sergeant Pena, we love you, man. We love you. And shout out to Alan Pena. If you're in the YouTube live chat, shout him out. Great guy.
Shout out.
I know a lot of
Shout
you guys know him.
out.
I know a lot of you guys know him.
Yeah, no, that was you know, it was a sliver of positivity that night. We threw him that comedy show fundraiser in such a terrible kind of circumstance, but what a gracious guy he was that night, going through what he was going through, and you could just tell that that's the kind of dude that you want to have your back, man. So we've been lucky that he's been, you know, standing up for us for all these years. Thanks for the service.
Yeah, dude. Can you imagine? I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but that night we took a big stack of cash because we raised a bunch of money.
Mhm.
Like this was
Handed it to him. Yeah.
right. This was
Yeah.
not like a fundraiser where eventually you're
No,
going to
this
get a
was just-
check and no, dude, it was real
We just
people.
took the door and handed it to him. It was a couple grand, I think.
Like, hey, dude, there's nothing we can do to help bring your wife back, but we can help you
But,
with your kids, especially during
yeah,
this crazy
this-
period of time in your life. Here's a stack of cash that we just collected. It's yours.
Yeah. And we made people laugh, and he was there, and you know, it relieved some of the, you know, grief for at least a moment. And yeah, I mean, that's the best. You know, I always say, like, that's like when I do those fundraisers and stuff, it's like the little drummer boy. That's all I can give is a few laughs, and hopefully we made a few bucks. You know, take what you can, and hopefully it helps.
Yeah, right on. So shout out to Sergeant Alan Pena. Congratulations on your retirement. 24 years as a U.S. Marine. We appreciate you, brother, and we appreciate that service. We really do. All right, listen, let me have 1 minute to just mention one of our other great friends, and that is PenskeSanDiego.com. PenskeSanDiego.com. So we've been working over the last year and change, probably longer, maybe 2 years, with Mazda of Escondido. They're a Penske dealership. Browner and I, along with the Padres, went and worked for Lexus of San Diego. This is a couple months ago. And they're a Penske dealership. And I think the folks at Penske finally thought to themselves, why do we have Kaplan and Crew promoting one of our 12 stores, one of our many, many brands of car dealerships that we have here in San Diego? And that's when the decision was made. Let's not promote just one. Let's promote the entire auto group. PenskeSanDiego.com. Acura, Audi, BMW, Honda, Lexus, Mini, Mazda, Mercedes, and Toyota. So pretty much any brand of car that you're looking for, Penske San Diego has an auto dealership here in San Diego. There's 12 dealerships. And the best way to find these guys and the best way to find what you're looking for is to shop online. PenskeSanDiego.com. PENSKE, Penske, SanDiego.com. All right, fellas, I'll throw this out there to you, and then we'll dive deeper into it as the show goes on. From a sporting perspective, I'm curious, what is on your minds today? Because there was Monday Night Football last night, and frankly, I didn't see very much of it. There was the Lakers versus Utah last night, and I cannot believe I was told Utah's going to tank. Utah's going to be terrible. It looks like the Lakers are the team tanking. So you had Monday Night Football, you had Laker basketball, San Diego State basketball last night, beat up on Cal State Fullerton. It was a game I was invited to go to. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to it last night. So college basketball has tipped off. So fellas, I'll throw it over to you. What's top of mind today, J Law?
You know, I'll say the top of mind for me is kind of the NBA. I'm obviously a Cleveland fan. The Cavs, you know, gave away one late last night to the Clippers in kind of a, you know, one, you know, it's one thing to just kind of not show up for a road game, but when you're up 112, 100 with a few minutes left and you've put out that kind of performance for 46 minutes, that's a tough one to swallow. So they've they've got a little readjusting to. But I'll tell you the other thing on my radar really is the Machado finalists in the MVP voting. And since we're talking about voting and it's voting day, I think it's a good sign that he's one of those few finalists. And, he might surprise some people at the polls, maybe, and maybe he might pull this MVP out.
What do you say, Browner? Top of mind today?
Top of mind for me today, very, very easy for me. Manny Machado should be the MVP. Period for me, man. I don't necessarily, obviously I'm a big Bulls fan. We got a long way to go. Huge Bears fan. Got a long way to go. Right now, today, top of mind for me is waking up after yesterday's news that Manny Machado is a finalist for the MVP vote, which then leads me to believe, looking at the other candidates, how could he not beat them?
Okay, let's dive deeper into that then. Let's get to that in the next segment. I'll tell you one other story that we talked about yesterday because it happened while we were on the air earlier in the day. It happened, but we talked about it a lot, is this Jeff Saturday hiring of the Indianapolis Colts. I watched a bunch of that press conference yesterday, and I love the decision more today than I loved it yesterday. I really do. I do. I love it. I think it's great. So we'll get into all this stuff. Will Manny Machado win the MVP? Who's he up against? What are the likelihood? What's the chances? We'll talk about that coming up. Plus, the Powerball lottery. Who had their tickets? And what happened last night with the lottery? We'll get to that story coming up. This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Stick around, everybody.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com.
Absolutely. The best part of the day is working with the team and working directly with customers. Just because it's fun and I enjoy collaborating. I enjoy watching the customers' reactions when the designers come up with their spaces. And we really take pride in the team effort and what we accomplish in the end.
I can tell that the team we have, accountability is very important. They feel like the work that we do is not just a reflection of themselves, but a reflection of us.
We've always been a design build company, but now we've taken design, not only our architectural, but interior design to a completely different level.
The philosophy of integrity here at Murray Lampert is always doing the right thing even when someone isn't looking. In turn, the homeowners get a really great product.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design, Build, Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Your next outdoor family adventure awaits. Exploring and adventuring to new places, creating beautiful memories for your ultimate family experience using clean and pure energy. Endless charging for endless possibility. Fueling all your outdoor needs. Our easy to set up solar panels offer clean and powerful energy. Pass-through charging means you can charge still fully enjoying your adventures. Experience your dreams with Jackery. Be free on your travels, enjoying delicious meals. Listen to the sounds of nature or a great film, peacefully and quietly. making these small moments count. Jackery Solar Generator. Jackery.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Listen to the Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com. We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew Show on the Mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Hey, everybody, I'm glad you guys are watching. And right in the middle of the show, I love to talk about one of our great sponsors. In this case, it's Jackery, and you can visit them online at jackery.com. And a couple of Jackery ambassadors, brand ambassadors, are standing by. This is Giselle and Steven, who I've been looking at their website, The Lover's Passport. Hey, guys, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. How you doing today?
Amazing.
Doing great, yeah.
Thanks so much for having us.
Tell us what The Lover's Passport is. I've been looking at the website, theloverspassport.com, and I am so jealous of the two of you guys.
Well, it kind of started as just a side hustle for us, a little couples adventure blog, if you will. And it slowly turned into a passion project of ours during COVID lockdown. And we bought our first camera in April of 2020 and just started capturing all of our adventures instead of just writing about them. And fast forward to present day, now we're both full-time travel photographers and adventure enthusiasts.
Did you guys know that you had the eye or the talent to be good photographers? Because I take a lot of pictures and I don't think I'm a photographer. I'm just a guy who has a bunch of pictures on my phone.
We're completely self-taught from YouTube.
Yeah, I feel like we used to model for one of my friends when we did different hikes. So we both loved hiking. And then eventually we were like, why don't we just buy our own camera and we can take some of our own pictures? Because we followed some of these other travel couples that inspired us a ton. So we were like, we could totally do this.
Wow, that's so cool. You guys learned photography on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube University, as we say.
Oh my God, YouTube you. That's awesome. You guys should have shirts that say YTU.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn. I have a degree in film and media, but I never did the production side of it. And the resources that are currently available online to whether you're learning photography or a totally other skill, it's incredible these days.
Where are you guys from? I read that you guys are both California people. Is that right?
Yes, born and raised in Southern California.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Ventura, California. She's a little bit south.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Woodland Hills.
Okay,
I'm a Valley girl.
Gotcha. Okay, well, this is perfect because we've got a lot of people watching on Cox Your View throughout San Diego, Orange County, LA, Santa Barbara. So all your people are going to definitely get a chance to see all of this. So you guys become full-time travel adventure bloggers. I've been reading a bunch of your blogs. My son goes to college in West Virginia. I see you guys have a full thing on West Virginia. That was really cool for someone like me to read.
Yeah, we love West Virginia. It was beautiful out there.
I think one thing that we really try and do is a lot of states travel, especially coming out of the pandemic. And a lot of hidden gems are just right around the corner in the States. And a lot of people think, you have to go to these beautiful international destinations, but there are so many hidden gems to explore in the state. And a lot of them there were tons and tons of these beautiful waterfalls out in West Virginia. We were really impressed.
So you guys become travel adventure outdoor bloggers, if you will. And then who puts the website together and who comes up with the name The Lover's Passport?
That was me. I'm betting you couldn't guess that one. I used to work in marketing before I did this. I was very used to SEO and the back end of websites and writing articles and things like that. So I came up with The Lover's Passport by taking synonyms for couples travel and then came up with names that were still available because I was like, oh, what's something that's going to get a lot of traffic? It's not even, there's no fun story behind it. I just what's searchable
and
we
memorable.
would be doing a lot of international travel, but then pandemic hit. So we kind of pivoted from lots of international travel
To
and
road
started doing a
trips.
lot of road trips to really highlight the States.
So jealous, dude. So jealous. So tell me this. You guys are photographers, so you need a lot of power. You've got equipment with you. You're also blogging and you're working on your website. So you have to, be able to be powered. And that's where our common partner, Jackery, comes in. Got about a minute and a half. I'd love for you to tell us about Jackery and what products you use and how you use them.
Yeah, Jackery's like completely changed the way that we could travel, because before we were always plugging into the car. I think my car battery died like a dozen or so times. And then finally we started using the Jackery, and we can charge our laptops off it. We can charge all of our camera gear. And it's really nice because it also has solar panels. So for our longer road trips, we can be completely self-sustained, where we can put out the Jackery, be able to get some power from that and recharge even while we're pulling a lot of energy from our laptops.
And it's just nice if you're a digital nomad or doing remote work. It gives you the flexibility to travel and still get work done without having to worry about your laptop dying in the middle of the desert, So
Exactly.
it's such a great tool. We've been using the 1000 for over 2 years now, along with the solar panels, and we just recently upgraded. So we're really excited to continue using our Jackery out on our road trips.
Hey guys, Giselle and Steven, it is great to be with you guys. I look forward to a much longer conversation. The website is theloverspassport.com, and the other website that you should know about is jackery.com. And I loved what you guys just had to say about powering up and using solar power. It's great advice for people who are going to be tailgating or going to be traveling themselves. Good luck with more of your adventures. You got a new fan who's going to be following you guys on all the social platforms and your website. And thank you so much for talking about Jackery with us.
And thanks so much for having us.
A real pleasure, guys. Thank you. Back to the show, everybody.
Drivers are getting in accidents at a rate we've never seen before, jumping 18% since 2020. There are higher incidents of speeding and more aggressive driving since the pandemic began. Please slow down and drive safely. It can save a life.
Murray Lampert's design process is very collaborative. We love the process, and what's best about the process is the way that it can flex as needed. So if there's a new piece of technology that's available that's really going to help us out, make a more accurate model, we're going to utilize that. We'll send the measure-off team to the house, and they will end up scanning the house using drones, LiDAR scanning, lasers, and tape measures to measure every square inch of the home. Then they'll take that information back to the office and build a 3D model of the home. We'll be upfront and honest if they're asking for things that may be out of their budget. We're going to let them know up front. We're always motivated to strive for excellence. There's kind of not another way to be. We do the best work we can and ultimately make the homeowners happy. What makes me proud is when we present that 3D model to the homeowners and we wow them. Sometimes we even bring tears to their eyes because they love the design so much. That brings me a lot of joy.
Watch the San Diego State Aztecs take on the BYU Cougars. November 11th at 7:30 p.m. Only on YourView and YourView.com.
I feel like I have the fun part of the job where I get to help out and make my clients' houses look beautiful. We start with looking at the floor plan, space planning, and then we look at countertops, tile, backsplashes, flooring, cabinets, everything like that. We have a lot of client meetings start in our conference room. Sometimes we have some clients that have already selected certain items that they want to incorporate into their project. We want to make sure they're happy with it because they're going to be living with it for a very long time. Sometimes we'll do something that goes totally with the style, and then we'll have a total outlier option for the client. And a lot of the times they end up going with that because they want to see something totally different. We want to make sure that we're focusing in on our clients. I really want to make sure at the end of the day that clients are happy, that I'm keeping up with my communication with them, and that we know that at the end of the day as well, and moving through the process of construction and everything, that we're going to have a successful project.
At the Barnes firm, we're seeing more pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Drivers are rolling through red lights, and distracted driving makes every intersection a danger zone for pedestrians. Look both ways when crossing, even if you have the right of way.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
Hey, great friends, what's happening? It is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. Grande off for post-wedding mini honeymoon. Jason Lawhead, comedian / radio host, in studio with us. And so everybody hang with us because Alex is off yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the whole crew will be back together again on Friday. I only mentioned that because Thursday I needed a day off. So I just can't get out of some things. So Jay will be here all week long. It's kind of like Jay.
You're going to still be voting on Thursday.
Right. Well, I'll probably still be in line on Thursday to vote. Yeah. Exactly. I'll be in line tonight. I'll tell you guys right now, It is pouring. It is windy. It is nasty out. I got woken up this morning at 5 a.m. I heard noise in my house. I was like hearing these noises. What the hell's going on? And, it's just me and my daughter and the dog. And by the way, the dog sleeps next to me. And this guy, his snoring is so loud. So not only is he snoring in my ear, but he's constantly got to be touching me, the dog. Like when we sleep together, he and I, and it's pretty much every night, just me and him in the bed, big California king bed, sleep on a little tiny sliver of this bed. And he just keeps pushing me over and over and over towards the edge. So I sleep with this freaking dog every night. He's touching me. He's like pawing at me like, hey, I need you to, lift up the blanket. I need to go underneath the covers. Like the dog is very high maintenance. Snoring like a mofo. And all of a sudden I start to hear something downstairs. Like, what the hell's going on? So I get up, I put on a robe. I say to the dog, I go, hey, you want to come help me?
Put on a robe? What do you, wait a minute.
Put on a robe?
You put on a robe? What's happening here? You put on a robe?
Well, I was sleeping in the buff,
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Well, what are you sleeping?
Shorts and a shirt. Sometimes socks, mostly socks. You know what? Correction. Socks, shorts, and a t-shirt. Yeah. I always wear socks. I don't know why I saved that for last.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
it's really cool. I'm more of a basketball shorts and like a white t-shirt. And if it's in the summertime, usually just basketball shorts. Or if it's wintertime, I might throw on some like joggers if it's really cold. Maybe some socks, but it's got to be pretty cold. But I'm just a t-shirt shorts guy. I mean, there's certain nights I go to bed naked after, certain things that you do with certain people, but and I sleep through the night that way. But there's times that happens, but not with my not just me and my pet in bed. No, I don't sleep naked.
Yeah, I'm and he's a dude, by the way. So I mean, I'm a naked sleeper with my dude dog. So I got up, I put on a robe, because I didn't want to walk downstairs naked, because in case I had to kick some ass, Browner.
Sure. You
butt naked in a robe. I don't know, brother.
No, if somebody was in my house, if I had a burglar in my home and I had to kick some ass, I didn't want to have to kick somebody's ass while I'm naked.
You are naked. You're just wearing a robe.
Right, but I'm not. At that point, I have a robe on.
You are naked, sir.
All I can say is this. Shout out to Frosty the Robe Man. I am part of the Robevolution. You know who I'm talking to right now.
Right, and he would tell you, for self-defense, being butt naked under a robe is not going to help you against an intruder.
No, because you're eventually going to be naked. If you have if there's an intruder and then there's something's going to happen, it's just a matter of time until you're naked again.
Any amount of tussle.
It's just seconds and then you're naked again, because there's a pull on the robe, the hand. There's eventually you're naked.
They can literally treat you like when they pull the towel from under the table and nothing moves off of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's gonna be you butt naked wrestling in the dark hallway. Now what are you doing?
Well, there was good news to the story. There was no intruder.
Thank God.
I said to the dog, I go, yo, you going to come help me just in case, or are you going to sit here and snore and sleep in my bed?
He's like, no, you got the robe. You got it.
Right. He's like, you got it, Dad. You go down there and handle it. And I went downstairs and I realized that the windows were open in the downstairs bedroom, and it was the doors were like opening and closing. And that's what the noise was that I was hearing, because the wind was so strong. It was like, I don't know, like 90-mile-an-hour winds last night, I think. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe 90 miles an hour.
Sign number one, you live in a very good, nice neighborhood that you fell asleep with the windows open.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Sleeping with the windows open indicates that you live in a nice neighborhood?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you sleep in my neighborhood with the windows open, you will be wrestling somebody butt naked in the middle of the night that don't live there. That's all. That's all.
All right.
And they might be the one in the robe, just coming right through the window wearing nothing but a robe.
It's a robe on robe.
Dude came into my house, came in through the open window in a robe. I had to go wrestle him.
Robe v trench coat. Fight.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where this story was going. Does anybody recall where this thing was headed?
You were telling the story.
were sleeping
told
with
the
your
story.
dog.
That was it.
know.
You sleep with the dog. The windows were open.
Yeah. Yeah, I was sleeping with the dog. The dog is snoring like super loud. I couldn't exactly tell if I heard something or if I didn't hear something because he's snoring so freaking loud, like right on top of me. And then I realized that I did hear something, and then I put on the robe, and I got distracted after the robe talk. And I went downstairs to find out that there was no intruder. I didn't have to fight anybody naked or in a robe, and I just needed to close the windows because it was, the wind was howling. I think that's where this whole thing started, is that today, I mean, yeah, we always say we need the rain, Gosh, we really need the rain. We do.
We don't want it though.
We do.
Yeah.
But then when we get it, we're like, we needed it, and I kind of liked it for like a little bit. But now, could you go away, rain? Because I'm telling you guys right now, where I am, it is pouring rain, and the wind is howling, like hurricane conditions going on here. All right, maybe a slight exaggeration.
The wind, but not the rain.
This guy, what are you, South Florida? You doing a show from South Florida today?
No, I mean, anybody who's watching can see that I'm doing the show from my dungeon. How dark is it in here? Because it's so dark outside. I got on 35 lights in this room, and it's still unbelievably dark in here.
It was really bad before we started the show. It was really bad.
I know. All right, so before we get on with it here today, and I want to talk about Manny Machado and the MVP race. In fact, let's do that. And we'll get to the lottery situation a little bit later on because I have my tickets right here to find out if I won. But I currently do not know. I don't know.
Somebody in California did win. It could be you.
Okay. Did I read this correctly that there were 3 tickets in the state of California, each of which was worth $1.5 million?
That was yesterday, yes. I don't know what today's situation is because it was just announced a little while ago.
Okay. I got $20 worth of tickets right here, and I'm $60 into this lottery. I mean, I have literally bought $20 of tickets every single time. Well, in the last 3 times.
Wait, let me help you. Let me help you kind of ease the issue there.
Okay.
What are your Powerball numbers? Because that's how you can determine whether or not you actually won any damn money.
24, 11. Well, actually, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell me what the Powerball number is, and I'll tell you if I have it.
Right. The last number you have to have anyway.
Right.
So if you don't have the last one, you ain't winning the jackpot.
Now, do you guys realize, because I didn't know this, the other day I decided to actually fill out my lottery numbers rather than let the machine pick them.
I like to do that too.
So I didn't know though that, wait, I just want to tell you, but I didn't know that your Powerball number can be the same as one of the previous 5 numbers that you've chosen.
That's what it was in this.
I didn't know that. And so there was a time where I had written out, here's an example. Oh, here it is. I used the number 10. In my handwritten choices. And I was going to use the number 10 again in my Powerball, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think you can do that." So I didn't. I used number 19.
Oh,
terrible.
You lost a lot of money.
Well,
man, you could have won. Yeah,
Powerball was 10 and the first number was 10.
Yeah,
okay.
So if you match that with 2 more numbers, I think you are into the certain sweepstakes, right?
All right, let me hear what the numbers were, Browner.
So did you have 10 as Powerball?
I did not.
Then there's no point in us continuing.
No, but you can't. What if you got 5 of 5 without the Powerball? You're still going to win something.
10,
thousands of dollars, maybe.
Right.
10, 33.
10, 33, 41, 47, 56. Powerball was 10.
Okay, I can tell you right now that just on the one, because here's what I did. I always let the machine pick them for me. This time I decided I was going to do 4 on my own and 1 where the machine picks it. And I gave the guy $20 and he gave me back $10. And I'm like, why are you giving me change? Because I've always just bought $20. I'm like, here's $20. Give me what the machine pays or picks. And so he gave me change. And I was so confused that it was only $10 to buy 5 tickets because I usually buy 10.
I wonder if they did a study on how many machines have actually picked a winner versus people individually picking their numbers. What would that number be? Because I'm pretty sure the machine's not picking a 10 for the Powerball and a 10 within the number. that strikes me as fishy.
All right. So one more time, the numbers were, this is for 1.9 billion, right? Or 1 point something billion?
The 2.04.
0.04. Yeah.
Okay. Was there a winner? Was there
Yes.
one ticket?
The Powerball
One
ticket was sold in California.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the numbers were, one more time.
10,
Yep.
33, 41, 47, 56, and the Powerball was 10.
I'm not even close. I mean, I got nothing.
Mm.
I got nothing. I think I'm done. I think I'm done playing the Powerball.
This time,
$60.
$3 billion.
$60. No, but it's not going to $3 billion. You said somebody won, right?
Well, this one is. It'll be back.
Right. It'll roll. It'll make its run back close to $2 billion again.
Wow.
It always finds a way.
All right, let me just say, let's get into this Manny Machado MVP situation. Before we do, just a quick reminder to everybody about our man, Gary Cooper, Mountain Trust Realty Services. So I always say this, never make a move in real estate without first talking to Gary. If you are thinking about buying a house right now, and what you're hearing is, wow, man, the interest rates keep going up and up and up, which means my buying power may be going down and down and down. If you can afford to buy a home right now, as Gary says, it's still a great time. And you may be thinking to yourself, why so? Number one, prices have definitely subsided. Number two, there is less competition than there was in the past, which was driving prices up. Three, even though the interest rates might be a little bit higher right now, you look good, Browner. Even though the prices or the interest rates may be going higher right now, they're supposed to be, I mean, based on the history of how recessions work in the economy, not that I'm an expert, but eventually the rates should be coming down, which means that you'll be in a better position to refinance and save yourself a bunch of money later down the road. Mountain Trust Realty Services, mountaintrustrualty.com. Call Gary if you have any questions or you just want to chat it out. 858-376-1299, 858-376-1299. And if you're looking to buy, Gary's got a bunch of listings right now, some of which might fit what you're looking for. So talk to him. mountaintrustrualty.com, Gary Cooper, 858-376-1299. All right, fellas, the MVP race in the National League. Browner, you said it earlier that Manny Machado should win MVP. You want to build a case?
For me, this is a very easy argument. If you look at the two people that he is up against,
okay.
For one, Paul Goldschmidt had a much, I think Nolan Arenado, my bad. The third baseman for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Nolan Arenado.
Had a much better supporting cast throughout the year. There was not the best player on the team, wasn't then not allowed to play all year because of steroids or some other allegation or injury. During the season, they didn't battle injury, fight through injury, and continue to lead an organization to a place where it has rarely been. What Manny Machado has done for this organization was not then done by these other players in their organizations. That's why I feel like this is really a runaway. Statistically, he was the best third baseman. The Gold Glove don't reflect that for whatever reason, but bebop, beboop. And then in addition to that,
talking about a nerd alert there?
Nerd alert. I just didn't have time to put the glasses on because I'm in the middle of my thing. And then in addition to that, he came up clutch every time you needed him to. And even when Soto came over, they made the trade to get all these guys. Soto was slow to come around. Manny Machado kept getting clutch hits. And last year, this team did an absolute nosedive. He was here for that, and he steered them out of it this year when the nosedive began after he got hurt. So I think that this is probably the easiest. Well, actually, Aaron Judge is an easier one, but I think this is a very easy pick for MVP. Manny.
J Law, what do you think here, man?
Yeah, I think when you look at the history of the award in both leagues over time, and you look at a lot of the things that have been voted, where you look at what Browner just said, all of those intangibles, and it doesn't always have to be that big runaway stat guy. Sometimes it's a slam dunk with those kind of guys, but there isn't one of those guys out there. Yeah, there isn't an Aaron Judge type. There aren't numbers like that in the National League, as good as Goldschmidt's is, as good as maybe even Freddie Freeman's were, as good as some of these numbers, even from a couple of pitchers, on that national side. This is the guy, third baseman, hot corner. You're right. He should have been in the Gold Glove award, but he is considered a Gold Glover, whether he won the award that year or not. And what he did in the middle of that lineup for a team that had to kind of just, hold serve as much as they had to throughout the year, being so far behind the Dodgers and being able to be the team that kind of, was at the top of that wild card bunch, and played really well. I think he's going to surprise. I think if you would have said in early September, he probably is a long shot. I think now is the way the season closed. And when you look at the whole body of work and when these voters sit down and go, who have we given MVP awards to in the past? When you look at the guys that have brought that award home, he fits the bill with the team that he was on and how what Browner said, carried that team. And what a great look for baseball next year. Going into next year, as many teams and many fans that the Padres put on their radar this year with that run in the playoffs, beating the Mets, beating the Dodgers, giving the Phillies a great series. If they're returning with the MVP award in 2023 and all the other names that we know that are going to be there in that roster, that's something Major League Baseball can kind of ride the back of as well. So hopefully he wins, and I think he should.
So I'll say this. It's kind of like voting today. Like I don't really know well all the issues, and I don't really know well all the candidates. So I kind of got to make a judgment call. Now, listen, everybody knows Paul Goldschmidt's name, and everybody knows Nolan Arenado's name. Two guys from the same team, by the way, which by the way,
gotta hurt him. Gotta hurt him.
Exactly. I mean, if Manny Machado is going to win, it's not necessarily because everybody voted for him to win.
Right.
But if it's kind of like a Heisman vote, where like this region votes for this guy and this region votes for that guy, and these two guys take votes from each other and then somebody else sneaks in.
I mean, I would argue, how could you have two guys from the same team be MVP candidates? Like, that's gotta split the vote.
Well, right, because you would have thought that if two guys were on the same team and they're both MVP candidates, it probably would have been Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
Right. Hey, thank you. Thank you. And they're nowhere to be found.
Right. So here's the thing. I know intimately, because I watched it every single day. I know what Manny Machado did. I know what Manny Machado meant to his team and to this city and to this playoff run. And believe me when I tell you, I hope he wins, because if Manny Machado wins, it helps the Padres going forward in this way. When Tatis returns, he now is not the number one guy on the team. Machado is the number one guy.
He's now number 3.
He's the reigning MVP, right? He might even be the number 3 guy on the team. But last year at this time, when we were talking about Tatis possibly winning the MVP, little did we know that all of this success that Tatis had so early was going to his head.
Yeah, man.
And he thought he was bigger than the team, and he thought he was bigger than baseball, and he thought he was bigger than the city, and he could do whatever the hell he wants to out there, And so if Machado wins, and we'll get to the case around this in a second, if Machado wins at the beginning of spring training next year, Tatis doesn't walk back in like some savior, hardly. He walks back in humbled and knowing that the reigning MVP of baseball, of the National League, is in his clubhouse. He's the more mature guy. He's the more veteran guy. He's the guy that carried the entire team while you were over here dealing with ringworm cream. And Tatis walks back in, as you say, Browner, maybe not as the number 2, maybe as the number 3, and is completely humbled.
Because
that's what he needs. That's what the Padres need.
You would then have a National League MVP on the team and a World Series MVP on the team. One 23-year-old and one the established leader of the clubhouse. So he would be third. He would be third.
He sure would, and he'd be working hard to fit in immediately and to stay, fitting in as you said, with Machado being the anchor defensively, right to the right of him at third base, being the heart of the order, and with Soto, you're absolutely right, and he'll be very little brotherish coming into spring training.
He'd be walking into a completely different clubhouse.
Completely different.
Yeah.
He would. Completely different vibe.
Not just the actual players that are in the clubhouse, but the resumes of those players in the clubhouse, particularly if Machado wins. And really the truth is, even if Machado doesn't win, the fact that he is a finalist for MVP It just goes to show you how this guy this season absolutely carried this team on his back. So while you were dealing with your broken wrist because you're so much bigger and better than all of us that you can go motorcycle riding in the offseason, and then when you were supposed to be coming back, and then you started telling us about your ringworm cream, and then you couldn't play for us all year long. All of those controversies, one guy played through it all and carried a team. And I'm really telling you that because this doesn't get voted on until, or at least it's not announced until Thursday. These two guys, Goldschmidt and Arenado, being on the same team, I gotta think they'll take votes and divide votes from each other, and then Machado sneaks in and wins with probably way fewer first place votes.
And this is the part about it I also think is going to be a factor in it. Manny Machado played longer into the window than the Cardinals did. And so I know that they say, oh, that these decisions are already made, but that will play into whether or not, because I doubt they cast these votes at the very end of the year. Because if so, why would the hell they wait till Thursday?
No, they do, man. They wait forever on this. Well, hold on. Let's build the case though. Why should Manny Machado win the MVP? What are the comparisons between Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Machado? We'll get to that coming up. Stick around. This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Locally owned and operated, not some bland, uninspired, corporate, cookie-cutter radio station crap. We simply say to those stations, Q. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
Hola, I'm J.R. Cardenas.
And I'm Vanessa Ramirez.
We're the hosts for Su Vida, where we showcase California restaurants, music,
art, culture, and so much more.
We would love to talk to you about featuring your business on our show.
Yes, and as an added bonus, you get to keep the professional video segment to repurpose and use on your website or social media channels.
Please click on the link below to get more information about how to put your business on Su Vida.
We hope to hear from you soon.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Brought to you by Procopio, San Diego's largest law firm, committed to community, representing San Diegans for more than 75 years.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
If you're going to count yourself as a fan of this radio station, you'll need to continuously ask yourself one basic question. Am I listening enough? Pro tip, wives are not a good source for input on this. This is the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
¿A dónde vas a ir?
On every mountain and valley you tread, through wind and rain, we're here with you. To shine a light when it gets dark, and to forge a path where it gets tough. Let Jackery Solar power all your hopes and dreams. Take you where you want to go, to the goals you chase, to the ones you love. Explore further with Jackery Solar. Jackery, 10 years on.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on YourView and YourView.com. Your Health is brought to you by Clever Care Health Plan, your partners for comprehensive care.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports